The air inside your sedan is a thick, stagnant soup of recycled oxygen and the sharp, metallic tang of rising panic. You can smell the hot asphalt radiating through the floorboards, a dry, dusty scent that sticks to the back of your throat. Outside, the interstate has become a graveyard of chrome and glass. The sun beats down on the hood of your car, creating a shimmering heat haze that makes the brake lights ahead of you dance like dying embers. It is a deafening kind of quiet, broken only by the distant rhythmic thud of a helicopter and the occasional hopeless blare of a car horn that no one bothers to answer. To your left, a woman is staring blankly through her windshield, her knuckles white as marble against the steering wheel. To your right, the highway divider is a jagged concrete ribcage, trapping thousands of people in a steel-belted furnace. The GPS on your dashboard is a sea of angry red lines, a digital scream telling you what you already know: there is no way out. The gridlock isn't just a delay anymore, it's a tomb. No worries, here's what you do. The first thing you have to survive isn't the traffic, it's the instinct to follow the herd. Human beings are hardwired for social proof. If everyone else is staying on the highway, your brain tells you it must be the safest place to be. But the highway is a funnel, and right now, the neck of that funnel is clogged with the debris of a collapsing society. You need to pivot your perspective. You aren't a commuter anymore. You are a kinetic object looking for the path of least resistance. Physics dictates that pressure builds where the opening is smallest. To escape, you have to find the gaps that the normal world ignores. Take a deep breath, feel the grit of the steering wheel against your palms, and shift your gaze away from the taillights. You're looking for the shadow city, the industrial service roads, the utility corridors, and the gravel paths that run parallel to the logic of the masses. Your vehicle is a tool, not a lounge, so it's time to treat it like one. Gravity is a relentless master, and every pound of unnecessary gear in your trunk is a tax on your mobility. If you're going to be hopping curbs or traversing uneven construction lots, you need to understand the science of your suspension. By jettisoning the heavy, non-essential items, that old spare tire that doesn't match, the boxes of decorative home goods, the literal baggage of your old life, you are raising your center of gravity slightly and improving your power-to-weight ratio. Newton's second law is your new gospel: force equals mass times acceleration. If you want more acceleration to punch through a gap in a chain-link fence, you need less mass. Reach into the back seat, grab that heavy trunk organizer, and dump it. It feels wrong to leave things behind, but those items are just anchors dragging you into the pavement. Your car needs to be lean, mean, and ready to bounce. Now look for the breach. The highway is bordered by more than just concrete. There are drainage swales, grassy embankments, and thin patches of woods that separate the main artery from the industrial zones. Most people see a curb and see a boundary. You see a curb and see a fulcrum. When you make your move, you don't do it at a 90-degree angle. That's how you high center your chassis and end your journey before it starts. Instead, you approach at a 45-degree angle. This allows one tire to crest the obstacle at a time, distributing the vehicle's weight and maintaining traction through the diagonal displacement of the suspension. As the front right tire climbs, the engine's torque is concentrated where it matters, preventing the sickening scrape of metal on stone. You'll hear the suspension groan, a mechanical protest of bushings and springs, but the car will tilt, bite into the dirt, and pull you out of the lane. You are no longer part of the line. You are a ghost moving through the periphery. Once you're off the asphalt, the city changes. It becomes a maze of loading docks and warehouse alleys. This is where you apply the principle of laminar flow. In fluid dynamics, laminar flow is when a fluid travels in smooth, parallel layers with no disruption. The highway is turbulent flow, chaotic, swirling, and stagnant. By sticking to the industrial backstreets, you are moving through the layers where the viscosity of the population is lowest. These roads aren't pretty. They smell like wet cardboard, diesel exhaust, and old grease. You'll bounce over potholes that would make a suburban dad weep, and the dust will coat your windshield in a fine gray shroud. Don't use your wipers. The grit will act like sandpaper on the glass. Use a quick burst of fluid and a single pass. Keep your eyes moving. You aren't looking for street signs, you're looking for sight lines. If you can see 3 blocks ahead and there's no smoke or blue lights, that's your vector. As you navigate these backlots, your engine is going to work harder than it ever has. You're moving at low speeds with high RPMs, which means your cooling system is fighting a losing battle against the laws of thermodynamics. Without the forced induction of air coming through the grill at highway speeds, the radiator has to rely entirely on the fan to pull heat away from the block. If you see the needle climbing toward the red, don't panic. Roll down your windows and turn your cabin heater to full blast. It sounds like a special kind of hell in a summer crisis, but your cabin heater core is essentially a second, smaller radiator. By pulling that scorching air into the cabin, you're bleeding heat off the engine, giving it the mechanical breathing room it needs from keeping from seizing. It's going to be hot, and sweat will sting your eyes, but a hot driver is better than a dead car. The final hurdle is the psychological bottleneck. Eventually, your shadow route will lead you back towards a bridge, a tunnel, or a final exit point that everyone else is also trying to reach. This is where the amygdala hijack happens. When people are trapped and scared, their prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for logic and long-term planning, shuts down, and the primitive lizard brain takes over. They will be aggressive, unpredictable, and blind to anything but the bumper in front of them. You have to be the cold, calculating observer. Don't engage in the road rage. Don't make eye contact. Use the science of gap theory. In any moving crowd, there is a pulse, a momentary expansion and contraction of space. Wait for the contraction, then exploit the expansion. When the car in front of you hesitates for a microsecond to check a map or yell at a passenger, that's your window. It's not about speed, it's about timing. It's the difference between a river getting stuck behind a rock and the water that finds the tiny crack and eventually breaks the stone. You reach the outskirts where the city's concrete grip finally begins to loosen. The buildings get shorter, the sky gets wider, and the air starts to taste like pine and open space instead of burning rubber. You glance at your rearview mirror, watching the skyline of the city you once called home flicker behind a veil of heat and smoke. It looks like a dying beast, trapped in its own complexity. You've navigated the veins and arteries of a collapsing giant and come out the other side. Your car is covered in industrial soot, your shirt is soaked with sweat, and your suspension is screaming for a mechanic, but the engine is still purring, a steady mechanical heartbeat that matches your own. You have successfully traded the safety of the herd for the sovereignty of the individual, and the dividend of that trade is your life. You look across the median at the inbound lanes, where the traffic is still trying to crawl towards the chaos you just escaped. You see your neighbor, Miller, the guy who used to brag about his car's autonomous driving features and its premium leather interior. He's sitting in his SUV, trapped behind a stalled delivery truck, his face a mask of pure, unadulterated terror as he realizes his 6-figure vehicle is just an expensive metal box in a world that doesn't care about his credit score. He's got 3 gallons of gas left and 0 ideas. He's waiting for a green light that is never going to come. But not you. Your tank is steady, your path is clear, and your nerves are made of cold-rolled steel. Stay mobile. Stay dangerous. You survived.